You know, there's nothing quite like the love between a parent and their children. After all, you've raised them, guided them, and watched them grow into the adults they are today. But sometimes, maybe even without realizing it, your kids start treating you differently. They might speak to you like you're a child, make decisions for you without asking, or even dismiss your opinions as if you're not quite capable anymore. And if you've ever felt that sting, that frustration of being talked down to by the very people you once held by the hand and taught how to tie their shoes, well, you're not alone. It's a strange and uncomfortable shift, isn't it? One day, you're the one giving advice, and the next, it feels like they're the ones managing you. Maybe they insist on handling your finances for your own good, or they correct you in front of others like you're a forgetful child. Maybe they don't even realize they're doing it. But here's the thing. You are still capable. You are still wise. And you absolutely deserve to be treated with the same respect you've spent a lifetime earning. So today, let's talk about how to reclaim that respect, how to gently but firmly remind your kids that you're still you, just as independent, just as sharp, just as deserving of a voice in your own life. We'll go over 6 key ways to shift the dynamic, to stand your ground with love, and to make sure your golden years are filled with dignity, not condescension. Now, the first step is often the hardest because it starts with you. If you want your kids to see you as the strong, capable person you are, you have to believe it yourself. Have you ever caught yourself downplaying your abilities? Maybe saying things like, "Oh, I'm just an old woman. What do I know?" Or letting them take over because it's easier than pushing back. It happens to the best of us. But every time we do that, we're quietly reinforcing the idea that we need to be managed. So let's flip that script. Start small. The next time you're discussing something, whether it's a family decision, a household task, or even just a conversation, speak with confidence. You don't have to prove anything, but you do have to own your wisdom. If your son tries to explain technology to you like you've never seen a phone before, smile and say, "I appreciate your help, but I've got this." If your daughter starts arranging your doctor's appointments without consulting you, gently remind her, "I'd like to handle that myself." It's not about being stubborn. It's about setting the tone for how you expect to be treated. And that brings us to the second key, boundaries. Now, boundaries might sound like a modern buzzword, but they're really just about respect. Think about it. When your kids were young, you set rules to keep them safe and teach them how to navigate the world. Now, it's your turn to set a few of your own. The difference is, this time, the rules aren't about curfews or homework. They're about how you want to be treated. For example, if your child has a habit of making decisions for you, it's okay to say, "I know you mean well, but I'd like to be part of this conversation." If they interrupt you or talk over you, you might say, "I wasn't finished speaking." It doesn't have to be confrontational, just clear. And here's the important part. Stick to it. If you let it slide once, they might not realize it matters to you. But if you consistently reinforce that your voice counts, they'll start to listen. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking, but I don't want to hurt their feelings. They're just trying to help. And that's true. Most of the time, our kids aren't being disrespectful on purpose. They genuinely think they're doing what's best for us. But that's exactly why it's so important to address it. Because when we don't, the pattern keeps going, and before long, we're left feeling smaller and smaller in our own lives. So let's take a pause here. We've covered 2 important steps: owning your confidence and setting gentle but firm boundaries. These are the foundation, the first shifts in a bigger change. And in the next part, we'll dive into how to handle those moments when your kids push back, how to stay calm and firm, and how to rebuild a relationship where respect flows both ways. because you've earned that. And it's never too late to make it happen. You know, change doesn't happen overnight, especially when it comes to family dynamics. Even after you've started speaking with more confidence and setting those gentle boundaries, there might still be moments when your kids slip back into old habits. Maybe they dismiss your opinion on something important, or they make a decision for you without asking. And in those moments, it's easy to feel discouraged, to wonder if things will ever really change. But here's what I want you to remember. This is a process. Just like it took time for your kids to start treating you differently, it'll take time for them to adjust to the new way of interacting with you. The key is to stay patient, but also persistent. So let's talk about the third way to regain respect: choosing your battles wisely. Not every little comment or overstep needs to be addressed. If your granddaughter corrects the way you pronounce a word, you might decide to let it go. It's not worth the energy. But if your son insists on managing your finances without your input, that's a battle worth having. The trick is to focus on the things that truly matter to you, the areas where you feel your independence is most at stake. When you do address something, keep your tone calm and matter of fact. Instead of saying, "You always treat me like I'm clueless," which might put them on the defensive, try something like, "I know you're trying to help, but this is something I'd like to handle myself." That way, you're not accusing them. You're simply restating your needs. And when you stay composed, it sends a powerful message. I am in control of myself, and I expect to be treated that way. Now, the fourth strategy is one that many people overlook, but it's incredibly powerful. Leading by example. Think about it. If you want your kids to see you as capable and independent, then show them what that looks like. Stay active in your own life. Make your own decisions when you can. Take on new hobbies or relearn old ones. When they see you living with purpose, they'll start to adjust their perception of you. For example, if your daughter always insists on driving you to appointments, try saying, "I appreciate the offer, but I'd like to drive myself today." If she pushes back, reassure her, "I'll let you know if I ever need help, but right now, I've got it." The more you demonstrate your ability to manage your own life, the less they'll feel the need to step in. Of course, there will be times when you do need help, and that's okay. Independence doesn't mean doing everything alone. It means having the choice to ask for help when you want it. The difference is in who's making the decision. So if you need assistance with something, be the one to initiate the ask. Say, "I could use your help with this," rather than waiting for them to assume you can't handle it. That keeps you in the driver's seat. Now, let's talk about the fifth way to shift the dynamic. Using humor. Sometimes a little lightness can diffuse tension and get your point across without confrontation. If your son starts explaining something to you in that slow, exaggerated way, like he's talking to a child, you might smile and say, "I might be older, but I didn't forget how to think." Said with a laugh, it reminds them not to underestimate you, but it does so in a way that doesn't feel like an attack. Humor works because it breaks the pattern. Instead of letting frustration build, you're addressing the issue while keeping the mood warm. Just be careful not to use self-deprecating jokes too often, saying things like, "Oh, ignore me, I'm just a silly old man," can backfire by reinforcing the very stereotype you're trying to overcome. Keep the humor playful, but always rooted in respect for yourself and for them. We've covered a lot here: choosing your battles, leading by example, and using humor to reset expectations. These aren't quick fixes, but they are effective ways to start shifting the way your kids see you and interact with you. And in the next part, we'll talk about the final key to reclaiming respect, one that ties everything together and ensures these changes last. because you deserve to spend your later years feeling valued, heard, and fully yourself. There's something deeply rewarding about standing firm in who you are, no matter how many birthdays you've celebrated. And by now, you've taken some powerful steps to remind your kids and yourself that your wisdom, independence, and voice still matter just as much as ever. But there's one last piece to this puzzle, and it might just be the most important of all: teaching them how to treat you. You see, our children aren't mind readers. Sometimes they truly don't realize that their help feels more like control. Other times, they're acting out of love, or even worry, and need guidance on how to support you without overstepping. That's where the sixth strategy comes in: having an open, honest conversation. Now, I know talking directly about feelings isn't always easy, especially when it comes to family. You might worry about hurting their feelings or stirring up conflict. But think of it this way: if the roles were reversed, wouldn't you want to know if something you were doing made your child feel disrespected? Of course you would, and chances are they'd want to know too. So pick a calm moment, not in the heat of frustration, and say something like, "I've been thinking a lot lately about how we communicate, and I want to share something with you. I know you love me and want the best for me, but sometimes when you fill in the behavior, it makes me feel like my opinions don't matter anymore. That's hard for me because I still value my independence. Can we figure out a better way together?" This approach does three things. 1. It acknowledges their good intentions, so they don't feel attacked. 2. It clearly states how their actions affect you, without blame. 3. It invites them to be part of the solution, rather than just demanding change. You might be surprised at their response. Many adult children genuinely don't realize how their behavior comes across, and when approached with love and clarity, they're often eager to adjust. Of course, old habits don't disappear overnight. There may still be slip-ups. But when they happen, you'll have established a foundation to gently remind them. Remember our talk? This feels like one of those moments. Now let's take a step back and look at the bigger picture. Over these 3 parts, we've covered 6 key ways to regain respect and independence. 1. Owning your confidence. 2. Setting clear boundaries. 3. Choosing your battles. 4. Leading by example. 5. Using humor wisely. 6. Having that crucial heart-to-heart. But here's the truth that ties it all together. You teach people how to treat you, not just with words, but by what you tolerate, how you carry yourself, and what you believe you deserve. Every time you speak up calmly, every time you demonstrate your capabilities, every time you redirect a conversation with grace, you're reinforcing your rightful place, not as someone who needs managing, but as a respected elder, a loving parent, and a fully capable adult. So as we wrap up, I want to leave you with this thought. The journey to being seen and heard isn't about proving anything. It's about refusing to disappear into the background of your own life. It's about honoring the decades of experience you carry and insisting that others honor them too. And most of all, it's about creating relationships where love doesn't come wrapped in condescension, but in mutual respect. Now, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Have you experienced this shift with your own children? What strategies worked for you? Your stories might be exactly what another viewer needs to hear today. And if this video resonated with you, don't forget to like and subscribe for more conversations like this one. Remember, aging might change many things, but your dignity, your wisdom, and your right to autonomy aren't on that list. Here's to living every chapter of your life with the respect you've earned. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.